Right in the center of the massive schoolyard, a giant magic circle is glowing crazy bright. Speakers are blasting. Today is the big day where every single student finally awakens. Up on the stage, this seriously buff, bearded teacher is yelling his lungs out, screaming that this awakening is going to directly decide their entire future. Turns out he is their combat coach, Lu Hu. The big guy is shouting words of encouragement, hoping every single kid gets the dream class they actually want. Right on cue, our main guy steps up, cool as hell. He thinks about how many years he has been in this isekai world. Finally, Awakening Day is finally here. Meet the new kid of Haicheng Military Academy, Fang Zhou. Standing right in the middle of the crowd, he hears his name. The coach barks out his name. Fang Zhou steps up, giving a sharp, cool nod. Our boy strides forward, his jacket fluttering like a total anime main character. Talk about an absolute heartthrob. Right on cue, the girls nearby start whispering, blushing hard, wondering what kind of epic class a guy like Fang Zhou will get. One girl bets he will become a priest based on his vibe, and the whole group starts fangirling, saying someone that handsome has to be a priest. Hearing that, a few salty guys nearby immediately roll their eyes. So what if he is pretty? In this world, you actually need a real class to survive. The girls snap back instantly, telling them to stop crying just because they are jealous of his looks. Ignoring the drama, Coach Lu Hu checks his files. The man notes that Fang Zhou is an orphan of a war hero, has insane physical stats, and top-tier grades. The coach strokes his beard with a grin. No wonder everyone is staring at him. Meanwhile, our boy calmly reaches out to touch the stone pedestal, triggering a massive magic circle that starts to glow. A golden glare lights up. It reflects in his excited eyes. Suddenly, boom! A massive multicolored beam shoots straight into the sky. Check this out, the entire school is literally losing their minds. Is his class really about to be some god-tier, heaven-defying power? Some girl is literally screaming that he is her absolute idol. But hold on, look at his hand. This creepy, dark energy suddenly starts leaking out. It is a bizarre greenish-black mist. The dark force gathers into a pitch-black lightning bolt, slamming down and turning the entire schoolyard pitch black. Coach Lu Hu nearly jumps out of his skin, eyes wide. He mutters, "How is this kid causing a natural disaster right now? What kind of monster class is this?" Suddenly, ghostly shadows of armored skeletons and grim reapers holding massive scythes start rising from the cold mist. It is creepy as hell. Standing right in front of a giant skeleton king and this literal undead army, Fang Zhou keeps a totally stone-cold face. Even with a massive storm of dark energy swirling around him, our boy stands tall. Then, the system screen finally pops up with the success message. Class, Necromancer. He frowns. He stares at his hands glowing with dark mana, while this massive shadow with glowing blue eyes looms behind him. He asks himself if this is seriously his class, while the other guys start pointing and laughing their heads off. Our boy just looks back, totally confused. The blonde ringleader points and laughs, mocking him for making such a massive scene just to end up as a trashy necromancer. The guy keeps bragging. Sure, it is a rare class, but everyone knows it is the weakest option among fighter classes. Another idiot joins in, saying he is going to die laughing. Turns out getting good grades doesn't make your class any stronger. Meanwhile, Fang Zhou is thinking, yeah, necromancy looks flashy, but it has one massive flaw. You need a seriously deep connection with the underworld to make it work. Our boy keeps analyzing it in his head. It makes perfect sense. Life and death are total opposites. He sighs, wondering how a living, breathing teenager is supposed to actually understand the world of the dead. But here is where things get interesting. Our guy just smirks. Right on cue, his personal status screen pops up in front of him. Name, Fang Zhou. Class, Necromancer. Level, Low Apprentice. Strength, 1. Constitution, 1. Agility, 1. Spirit, 2. Then, this glowing green notification pops up out of nowhere. Welcome to the Underworld Trial System. Our boy smiles. He holds up this glowing green orb. His cheat code has finally arrived. His cheat code was 18 years late, but it is finally here. The screen keeps updating with new alerts, telling him he just unlocked something massive. The system is auto-connecting him to the Underworld, creating a custom skeleton clone for him. A detailed tutorial pops up to show him the ropes. He can control his skeleton clone to explore the Underworld, devouring other undead to level up. It is basically a real-life video game. He can even summon this clone into the real world. Of course, there are some unknown risks, so he needs to watch his back. Our boy rubs his chin. This Underworld system is literally a custom cheat code made just for him. He smirks. Pure confidence. Looking at his bright future, he gives the system a direct command to summon his clone, realizing this spooky skeleton is actually his own body. The system chimes in to confirm. He can temporarily possess this avatar to explore the Underworld before bringing it out into the real world. The screen shows another dark alert. The skeleton clone can eat other undead monsters to boost its own stats, getting stronger with every kill. Plus, any monster he defeats can be summoned into the real world to fight for him. Our boy is absolutely thrilled by this insane loop. If he defeats enough monsters, he will have a whole army of summons. Looking out at the ruined Underworld, he makes a bold promise. This entire place is going to be his personal hunting ground. But he shakes his head, deciding the Underworld exploration can wait for later. Right now, he needs to summon the skeleton. The system responds instantly, starting the process to bring his undead avatar straight to the real world. Under his feet, a dark magic circle glows bright. A giant skeleton wearing a pitch-black robe slowly rises up, looking like a total boss. Standing right next to this massive skeleton, our boy smiles. This clone is definitely going to be his absolute strongest summon from now on. Coach Luhu shakes off his shock and yells for the next student, Bai Xiaochan. As she steps up, she looks straight at Fang Zhou. Wait, why did such a top-tier talent have to awaken this trash class? His female classmates crowd around, begging Fang Zhou not to let it get him down. Another girl steps up to defend him, claiming she still believes that even as a necromancer, he can easily grab the legendary crown in the end. She drools over the summoned skeleton, calling it insanely cool, while a jealous blonde guy watches from afar, muttering curses about the main character's luck. Why does this dude wake up with a garbage class but still get surrounded by girls? He angrily fumes, thinking pretty boys always get a free pass. He smirks, thinking a stupid dry skeleton could never touch his elite assassin class. That is when a seriously twisted plan pops into his wicked head. He remembers rookie necromancers only get a few summons a year. If he smashes this skeleton to pieces, it will totally ruin the guy's leveling speed. Sneaking into the shadows, he pulls out his weapon to unleash his silent sleeve arrow skill. With a sharp flick, he sends a deadly projectile flying. The razor-sharp arrow tears through the air right at the skeleton. The guy screams in his head to die, while Fang Zhou just stands there calmly. But wait, check this out. Before the arrow even lands, the summon completely vanishes, leaving the cowardly attacker frozen in absolute shock and disbelief. Before he can even process it, the skeleton's creepy, glowing blue eyes are staring right into his soul, making him break out in cold sweat. Boom! A bony hand slaps him across the face, sending blood splattering everywhere. Then, the summon swings a spiked mace, brutally slamming the trash talker down. All the guy can do is shriek as he faceplants. Lying face first in the dirt, covered in blood, he stammers out, "How is this even possible?" He struggles to stand up, shaking like a leaf. As Fang Zhou casually walks over, the guy clutches his swollen face, backing away and screaming in terror. "What do you want, Fang Zhou?" The coward glares back, sweating bullets and cursing his life. How is a simple skeleton summon this ridiculously strong? It literally reacted to a blind spot sneak attack. But then, he gets a wicked, desperate idea to save his pride and salvage the entire situation. He realizes necromancers are physically weak, meaning the summoner himself should be a total glass cannon. The desperate jerk suddenly lunges forward with his weapon. He goes for a direct stab, screaming at him to die. But our main character doesn't even blink. casually reaching out to catch the incoming attack. Crack! He grabs the attacker's wrist and squeezes until the bones start snapping, making the guy scream in pure agony while our hero looks down with contempt. "Know your place," he whispers. Then, he channels crackling lightning energy into his fist and unleashes an absolutely savage punch straight to the guy's face. The impact sends the idiot flying backward, dragging his face across the grass and leaving a bloody trail. The watching crowd is left utterly speechless by it. Jaws drop. Their mouths are wide open in pure shock, while the guy who was talking all that big game is now knocked out cold. Our main character just shrugs, turns around with his skeleton, and casually says, "Let's go." Behind him, the crowd erupts into a massive wave of gossip. What's with all the noise? A girl eagerly explains that some random extra tried to jump Fang Zhou, only to get absolutely wrecked in a split second. He got KO'd with a single punch, another student gasps. A nearby boy scratches his head, wondering if necromancers were actually supposed to be weak. How did that extra lose so badly? His buddies help him up while he glares at the retreating figure of Fang Zhou, whispering with pure hatred. He grinds his teeth, screaming for his rival to just wait and see. Cut to a quiet, peaceful corner of the school under the warm afternoon sun. Our boy sneaks off into an empty alleyway and lets out a long sigh of relief, glad that nobody is around to bother him anymore. He calls out for his system, and a glowing interface pops right up. It is time to test out this Underworld Trial domain he just unlocked. The system asks if he wants to activate the Underworld Trial. He starts analyzing the option, knowing it's his ticket to understanding this crazy world. This trial is basically a mandatory class for necromancers. If his luck is good, he can even devour other undead creatures to level up incredibly fast. There is literally no better way to boost his overall strength, but he still hesitates, wondering if things will really go that smoothly for him. The undead are extremely dangerous, and it is eat or be eaten. But high risk means high reward, so he makes his final decision. He orders the system to start the trial. The screen glows as it prepares the transfer, leaving him standing in a whirlpool of dark magic energy. He had to wait 18 long years of his life just to get this system, so he is not about to waste this perfect opportunity to grow strong. The system warns him of extreme, unknown dangers ahead, prompting him to either confirm or cancel. Without a single second of hesitation, he decides. Zero hesitation. He smashes that confirm button, triggering a massive glowing magic circle under his feet with a flashing red warning sign. Welcome to the Dead Zone. The entire scenery instantly transforms into a terrifyingly creepy wasteland filled with blood-red swamps, mountains of skulls, and black crows nesting on old, abandoned tombstones. Whoa, look at that, our guy is actually possessing his skeleton summon, kneeling under a creepy blood moon as he carefully checks out his new body. He stares at his bony hands, realizing he's in the exact same skeleton body. While he looks around, the status screen automatically updates his current stats. His summon is classified as a low-rank apprentice skeleton. His stats are literally all ones with 0 gear. But he does have the bone armor skill. This apprentice-level skill lets him use bones to reinforce his body and craft weapons. Soul power is at 0. The skeleton rubs its chin thoughtfully. He figures this must be the exact same insane power his summon used back at school. Connecting the dots, he starts planning his next survival move. The skeleton starts walking, knowing he needs to craft a reliable weapon before running into danger. But he has no idea something massive is lurking nearby. Look out! Out of nowhere, a terrifying mutated wolf head leaps straight out of the dark, roaring with absolute rage. Our hero spins around in total panic. Sensing pure killing intent, he spins around just as a giant two-headed wolf lunges from the sky, forcing him to dive into a desperate roll. He barely dodges that wild attack. Backing away in his new skeleton body, he is sweating bullets. Already getting jumped? This underworld is literally crawling with danger. The beast does not give him a second to breathe. It lunges out of nowhere, crunching its teeth right onto his bony arm. He panics, this is bad. Suddenly, his leg gets grabbed too. With his leg totally pinned, he does not even panic. The skeleton raises his weapon high, locking eyes with the monster. Fine then, he growls, let us do this. Right as he strikes, a tiny skeleton summon spawns out of thin air to land a bonus hit. He laughs it is a buy one get one free special. That brutal blow smashes directly onto the monster's skull with insane force. But the beast just shrugs it off with a growl. This rookie is seriously sweating now. He realizes his attacks are doing 0 damage. Dodging crazy lunges, his skeleton clone leaps back, gasping for breath. Controlling this bony frame is way harder than he thought. If he keeps running, he is done for. But watch right in this crazy mess. His eyes lock onto something hidden in the pile of bones. Completely ignoring the crazy two-headed wolf charging right at him, the skeleton spreads his arms wide and yells out to the piles of debris. Let us go. Instantly, tons of broken bone shards fly into the air. He activates his system skill, Bone Armament, forging them into a massive, terrifying Grim Reaper scythe. He spins around, unleashing a massive slash that rips right across the beast's chest. Go die, he yells. The wounded two-headed wolf goes absolutely berserk. It growls in pure rage, but our rookie is too fast. He shoves a massive chunk of bone straight into its mouth, completely shutting its jaws up. Back in the real world, his real body suddenly winces. He coughs up blood, clutching his chest and wiping his mouth. The student is completely shocked. Underworld damage actually transfers to his real body. This system is way more dangerous than he thought. Back in the dark realm, the skeleton stands tall. He coldly stares down at the dead monster and shrugs. Time to grab the loot. The skeleton clone reaches out its bony hand to claim the prize. He plunges his hand straight into the beast's chest, ruthlessly draining its dark energy. He smiles, let this death serve as my stepping stone. He raises his massive scythe again, dark energy exploding around him as he commands his bone armor. With one final, brutal swing, he completely shreds the target. Out of the black blood puddle, a glowing blue soul orb floats into the air. The dust settles, leaving our future Necromancer king standing proud. But the cool guy act does not even last 5 seconds. He instantly drops to one knee, completely out of breath from using way too much energy. Looking at his weapon, he smirked. Bone Armament is actually way more OP than he expected. It is definitely worth being a free starter pack skill. As he is chilling, a bright blue soul fire starts drifting in front of his face. He tilts his head. What on earth is that glowing thing? You see where this is going, right? The eerie flame drifts closer, totally grabbing his attention until it suddenly explodes with a crazy wave of heat. It triggers a wild, deep hunger inside him. Driven by pure instinct to get stronger, he reaches out and snatches the glowing flame right out of the air. The skeleton opens his toothless jaw and swallows the soul whole. Instantly, a massive surge of pure power rushes straight through his entire bony body. The system dinged. Level up. His hard work pays off as his new stats pop up on screen. His strength stat just climbed to 1.1, while his stamina, agility, and spirit are all at solid ones. Staring at his hand, he smirks. A 0.1 boost to strength? Not bad. This is definitely the buff from his bone armament skill. The system screen flashes again, showing he just harvested 0.1 soul power. He scratches his skull, wondering what soul power actually does. Right on cue, the system behaves like a pushy salesman and lists out all the premium benefits. Apparently, it lets him upgrade skills, boost his potential, reinforce his gear, and a million other broken perks. A devious grin spreads across his skeleton face. His green eye sockets glow in the dark. In other words, a genius plan for the ultimate, infinite grind has just unlocked in this young necromancer's head. Hunt, absorb, level up, and repeat. The faces of his real self and his skeleton clones sync up, both wearing the grin of a classic anime villain. All I need to do is keep hunting, he says. Striding through the bone wasteland, he is completely confident he can level up without limit. He is going to break this entire server. But as he is walking around, his system radar pings with a brand new target. It is a skeleton soldier. This is the classic apprentice-level meat shield of a necromancer. The screen shows a skinny skeleton charging with a sword. The system instantly roasts it. Weak body, zero brains, and a major weakness in its soul flame. With free food practically delivered to his door, our guy does not hesitate. He triggers bone armament and the system dings with congrats. He just crafted a bone spear. Armed and ready, he charges straight into the fray. He tears through every monster in his path. The system notifications are spamming like he won the lottery. Agility, plus 0.1. Soul power, plus 0.1. Every single strike deletes an undead, turning them into pure stat points. Stamina, plus 0.1. Soul power, plus 0.1. He is absolutely eating. Soul energy floods his dry bones like a waterfall, making him laugh like a total madman. My strength, he screams, is off the charts right now. Slamming his spear down, his stats look clean. Strength is at 3. Agility is 2. Stamina is 2. Spirit is 2. With 10 soul power points. But the gamer greed never stops. He wants more. In the blink of an eye, the dark underworld fades, and we are back in the sunny real world. Right on the campus of Hython High School, our guy is standing there with his eyes closed, completely high on his imaginary power and whispering like a monk. He keeps muttering that he can get even stronger. Suddenly, a sweet voice snaps him completely out of his cringe superhero daydream, making him jump in surprise. He blinks his eyes wide open in shock. Standing right in his face is his extremely pretty classmate, Bai Xiaochan, staring at him with deep worry. He stammers, asking what she is doing here, but she quickly cuts him off. She frowns, launching into a worried rant with a look of pure pain. She tells him that even if his awakened class is absolute trash, he should not be cutting his wrists. He just stands there, totally laggy. What? Our newly minted Necromancer is totally facepalming, screaming internally. Great. This girl thinks he is some depressed kid ready to end it all. Next time he slips into the spirit world, he needs to find a way more deserted corner. Quickly hiding his bleeding hand, he scratches his head and lies that he just scraped it on some random tree branch. But her eyes are still screaming disbelief, basically asking if he is for real. The vibe between them instantly gets hilariously awkward right there in the sunny hallway. To break the silence, she suggests they get going since meditation class is about to start. Grabbing this lifesaver of an excuse, our boy nods like crazy. But just as he tries to play it cool and walk away, he suddenly clutches his chest, hacking up a splash of fresh blood. The poor girl turns pale and lunges. She catches him, insisting she will carry him to the clinic herself. He waves his hand to stop her, coughing out that he is totally fine, even though inside, he is crying a river. Grinding overtime in the undead realm totally trashed his real body. Right on cue, his system pops up a warning, like a nagging doctor. The notification tells him he went way past his daily limit, so he is on his own. But then, a wild, curious spark flashes in his eyes. Staring at the screen, he is absolutely hyped to see that his real-world body got a massive share of the loot, too. This is a total cheat code. His strength jumped to 1.2, with everything else hitting 1.1. Plus, he unlocked a skeleton summon skill and a crazy option to deduce new moves. His classmate is still tugging his sleeve, freaking out and asking if he is about to kick the bucket. But Fang Zhou completely tunes out her panicked questions. All he cares about is that glorious upgrade button and the insane skill deduction feature. Looking up, his brain goes into overdrive as he imagines what is next. Could he actually copy the top-tier whales of the server and cook up his own custom broken ultimate moves? The thought alone gets him pumped. Right here in the shade of Haicheng High School, a legendary necromancer is quietly being born, built on absolute comedy and some seriously sweaty, hardcore grinding. Cut to the massive classroom, where their teacher steps up to the podium and taps it to get everyone to shut up and pay attention. Check out this gorgeous lady with fiery red hair and a killer figure introducing herself as Shen Hongyu, their meditation instructor. She is definitely not your average teacher. She is actually a silver rank fire mage. Looking over the classroom, she watches her students close their eyes, golden auras beginning to glow around them. She gives them the rundown, explaining that this basic meditation aligns with their class, and they need to channel it to manifest their active abilities. Her voice echoes across the room, reminding them that meditation boosts their spiritual energy, which is the literal foundation for using any skills later on. Noticing how incredibly stressed out the kids look, Shen Hongyu smiles to calm them down, though she cannot help but flex a tiny bit. She tells them not to sweat it because failing at first is totally normal. After all, a genius like her took half a month to nail this. But while she is busy boasting, our boy sitting in the back suddenly gets an absolute game-breaking notification directly from his cheat system. It says a skill called skeletal meditation is available to learn, and he can instantly master it through deduction. It asks if he wants to start now. He does not even hesitate for half a second before slamming that yes button. Boom. Instantly, a massive wave of glowing green runes starts swirling around him. They flood straight into his brain, making him widen his eyes in pure shock. Soul energy immediately links his physical body directly to the undead realm. This forms a perfect, seamless connection between our boy and his dark-cloaked skeleton clone. A bright system pop-up flashes with some legendary news. He successfully mastered the skeletal meditation method, and a smug grin spreads across his face. Who knew cheating could be this incredibly easy? Our young necromancer feels like an absolute god, thinking that all he had to do was stare at his skeleton clone for a couple of seconds. Finding this ultimate loophole has him thrilled. As long as he stays in the real world, his skeleton clone will literally meditate on autopilot. That means he is grinding 24/7. Talk about an absolute cheat code for a necromancer. But while he is celebrating his hands-free farming, the system pings him again. His spiritual power just leveled up, meaning he can dive back into the undead realm. He strokes his chin, putting the pieces together. Entering the spirit world drains his spiritual energy, so he cannot slack off on training either body. He refuses to let a single resource go to waste. He closes his eyes, commands the system to open the portal, and boom. In a flash, our skeletal grinder is back, sprint running through the barren wasteland. Right off the bat, his skeleton minion chucks a glowing blue spear straight through a target, reaping some sweet stats. Tell me that does not look epic. He scoops up the loot, gaining plus 0.1 constitution and soul power. Those empty eye sockets burn with pure malice as he gets ready to hunt. After slaying tons of monsters, his cheat system pops up with another crazy notification. It turns out his clone skill has finally reached max-level instinct mastery. He can now use this as material to deduce brand new abilities, costing 10 points of soul energy. Our boy nods, finally putting 2 and 2 together. So that's how deduction works. It has to happen right here in the Underworld. He happily pays the fee, and his skeleton clone folds its hands. The skeleton begins chanting as the upgrade starts. A giant green question mark appears on the screen, complete with a loading bar showing the analysis progress. The screen flashes with a massive success message. He just unlocked Skeletal Flying Spear. Reading the description, he finds out it lets him summon bone spears. It deals both armor-piercing physical damage and deadly necrotic damage. On top of that, the power, range, and number of spears scale with his spiritual stats. He is absolutely loving this new toy, since it perfectly matches the custom weapons he has been building. It is a total win for his build. Even better, a massive skill tree pops up, showing pathways to skeletal shields, giant claws, and bone prisons. Our gamer is absolutely losing his mind here. He literally got a whole custom skill tree dropped in his lap. Slinging his upgraded bone spear over his shoulder, the skeleton takes a step forward. It is time to start farming way more soul energy to unlock all these skills. But suddenly, the skeleton stops dead in its tracks. Standing right there, ghost dogs lock into his sights, and our Death Lord lets out a wicked laugh. Talk about perfect timing, he says. Let us use you pests to test my brand new skill. Just as he speaks, a massive beam of energy slams down from the heavens, triggering an absolutely devastating bone explosion. Instantly, glowing blue fire shards tear through the air, completely shredding the targets. Rocketing toward the enemies, they rip through everything. Admiring the wreckage, our guy nods in approval. Not bad, he thinks this totally blows away those weak apprentice skills like Death Missile or Decay. But his grinding joy hits a massive wall when the experience points start trickling in. Seriously, getting 0.05 agility and 0.05 strength, plus 0.05 soul power? Our boy grimaces in utter confusion. The attribute points and soul strength these weak skeletons provide are dropping fast. Checking his pathetic stats, strength is 3.1, constitution and agility are 2.05, mind is 2, and soul strength is 10.2. He sighs. Looks like this system won't let him mindlessly grind stats forever. It is basically forcing him to dive deeper into the dangerous territory of the undead. But being the ultimate penny pincher, he shoulders his brutal bone spear and makes a declaration. Before these low-tier mobs stop giving him stats, he is going to milk them dry. He has to devour every single one. Suddenly, flash. We are back in his real-life classroom. The female teacher stands there, hands on her hips, watching the class. She frowns in deep annoyance, hearing a weird, muffled chuckle. Then, a secret hand frantically tugs at the edge of our dreaming boy's shirt. Hey, wake up. Sweating bullets, Fang Zhou snaps out of his daydream, only to find the teacher glaring at him. Why are you giggling like an idiot? She demands. While everyone else is hard at work meditating, you are just sitting there grinning. As he stammers an excuse, a sneaky kid from the back row pops up to mock him. Teacher, I know for a fact Fang Zhou cannot even meditate properly. A student in the front row gets confused. Wait, shouldn't rare class holders meditate faster? The sneaky kid snaps back arrogantly. You idiot, that entirely depends on what kind of rare class they have. The classroom immediately erupts into a noisy debate. Barely anyone awakens as a necromancer, and the meditation technique they are taught is apparently a broken, incomplete version. Another student nods along in agreement. No wonder then. Fang Zhou probably struggles to even enter a basic meditative state. Hearing all this trash talk, our main guy just sits there, completely speechless. Teacher Hua Dirm sighs and gives him a stern look. Look, I know your class makes meditation tough, but you cannot just give up and hold the entire class back. She turns around, pointing at a golden boy. Look at how hard Lu Renjia is working. In just one class, he has already managed to manifest his sword hilt. Holding a fiery sword hilt, the blonde rival fake humbles himself. You flatter me, teacher. I have only mastered 1/3 of the technique. It is just average genius level speed. Then he throws a nasty side-eye at his rival. Fang Zhou, you finally understand the massive gap between a weak necromancer and actual classes, right? And honestly, you cannot help but laugh at this clown's garbage flex. Our boy just smirks, getting ready to absolutely destroy his ego. What did you just say? The sneaky kid from behind immediately spins around, pointing straight at his face. You cannot even enter meditation. How dare you talk smack? You need to check your own pathetic status before bragging. Without wasting another breath, Fang Zhou lets his dark necromancy aura explode, sending a chill through the room. What is this? The blonde kid gasps in sheer terror, while the surrounding students freak out and scramble backward. Teacher Hua Dirm narrows her eyes in disbelief. She shouts to restore order, forcing Lu Renjia to snap out of his trance. The angry teacher turns on Fang Zhou, scolding him for pulling this stunt. What is the meaning of this? If you want to show off and act like a thug, wait until combat class tomorrow. But our boy calmly responds. I just wanted classmate Lu Renjia to back off a tiny bit. He flashes a wicked, sinister grin before dropping the real hammer. That way, you can clearly see my meditation progress, teacher. The room goes wild. No way, did this guy actually manage to succeed in his meditation? Trying to save face, Lu Renjia sneers. So what if he succeeded? He probably barely cleared 10% of the beginner level. Now look at this. Completely ignoring the haters, our boy closes his eyes and starts chanting the bone technique. Instantly, pure chaos erupts. It sweeps across the entire classroom, shaking everyone to their core. Lu Renjia and his loudmouth buddy instantly turn pale as ghosts, totally paralyzed with shock. Even their experienced teacher loses her cool, whispering in disbelief. How is this possible? Did he really master the bone meditation technique in just one single class? Standing before a towering skeletal shadow, Fang Zhou smirks and delivers the ultimate burn. Compared to your average genius, my progress is probably 1 billion times faster, right? Just then, the door flies open, and a buff, bearded teacher walks in, nodding in approval. "It seems you guys have made some pretty solid progress," he remarks. Standing with hands on his hips, the bearded man loudly makes an announcement. "In that case, get ready for a little test tomorrow." This makes Fang Zhou raise an eyebrow. A test? The classroom immediately fills with tears and loud complaints. What? Already? Is it combat class already? I have not even started meditating properly. But hearing this, the blonde rival Lu Renjia grins, thinking this is his golden chance. Combat class is nothing like meditation, punk. In my domain, let us see how long a pathetic rookie necromancer like you can keep up that tough guy act. Suddenly, zoom, we are pulled right back to the eerie, blood-red realm of the undead. There, the skeletal clone of Fang Zhou is casually wandering around. Stomping his bony heel onto the dry, barren ground, he gets ready for another hunt. Our main character silently assesses the major changes inside himself. Since mastering basic bone meditation, the time he can spend in this dark realm has increased quite a bit. Gripping his weapon tightly, his determination surges. No slacking off now. Before his mental energy runs completely dry, he needs to take down as many undead monsters as possible. Moving like a shadow of death, he tears through these low-tier enemies, roaring for more targets to destroy. Give me more. Dark energy bursts with every lethal strike, piercing their rib cages and leaving a trail of shattered white bones behind. Our grinding machine screams for more blood. I can keep going. But then, the green soul fire flickering inside his empty socket starts to blink rapidly. After a while, the skeleton finally stops to catch his breath. Looking at the messy battlefield of his hard work, the Death Lord nods, realizing his mental energy is pretty much drained. Right then, a bright green system screen pops up. His class leveled up, meaning his skeleton clone is about to get some seriously overpowered upgrades. The yes or no prompt makes him cheer. Guess all that hard grinding actually paid off. Without wasting a second, his bony finger taps the yes button. Get ready for this. A massive emerald beam of light suddenly explodes out of nowhere, swallowing his entire bony body as the upgrade starts. His cracked armor pieces fuse back together, dark red patterns glow fiercely, and his hollow eye sockets burn with insane demonic power. Then, a fresh stat panel appears. It shows his clone just hit mid-tier apprentice with 5 strength, 3 stamina, 3 agility, 3 spirit, and 10 soul power, plus a cool new gray bone spear. He unlocks a new skill called Brutal Strike. Our grinding hero is losing his mind. Who knew leveling up gave free skills? Reading the details, Fang Zhou already imagines wrecking monsters with this beginner apprentice Brutal Strike skill, which unleashes a massive explosion of raw physical power. It scales directly with his strength and mastery. The Death Lord pats his ribs, feeling pretty smug, thinking this is awesome. With this, his grinding speed is about to go through the roof, but reality hits hard. Before his smug grin even fades, a massive wave of dizziness slams into him out of nowhere. His green eye fires flicker like a dying light bulb. Our grind-obsessed hero drops to his knees, clutching his bald skull. He was so busy fanboying over his skill that he completely forgot his mental energy was already at 0. Suddenly, we are back at the sunny, windy schoolyard of Haithon High School, surrounded by noisy teens. Back to reality. Fang Zhou sits on the steps, rubbing his temples in pain. Damn. His head hurts. His mana pool is too tiny. Seeing him struggle, the caring class monitor walks over. Hey, Fang Zhou. What is wrong? Ever since meditation class, your face has looked like a total mess. Our boy forces a weak smile to save face. It is nothing. Just training a bit too hard lately. He sweats nervously, knowing his secret hack system must stay hidden. From now on, he will just sneak into the undead realm alone. But right as he is overthinking, a familiar, loud, annoying voice cuts in. The loudmouth disses our necromancer, calling it a trash job since he gets this weak from simple meditation. Instantly, some random bully lackey chimes in to talk trash. Exactly. Don't think you are cool just because you started meditating. At the end of the day, in this world, fists do all the talking. The class monitor has had enough and steps up to defend him. Back off, you guys. What did Fang Zhou even do to hurt your fragile egos? Why do you always target him like wild dogs? But the annoying rich kid, Luke, just tilts his chin up, claiming he is only telling the brutal truth. Seeing him get defended, Luke gets even cockier, pointing right at Fang Zhou and barking. What? You still want to get beaten up, you loser? You think I am still as weak as I was last week? He slicks back his hair, waving a fiery sword around like some cheap dancer. I actually unlocked my class skill today. Now, all it takes is one sneeze and I will easily blast you straight to your grave. Just as things are about to get bloody, their buff teacher roars like a lion to shut it down. Cut the attitude, all of you. The students freeze instantly, bowing politely to teacher Luke. Glaring at the arrogant brat, the teacher warns him that school teaches combat skills, for slaying monsters in the future, not for spoiled brats to fight like animals. Luke immediately tucks his tail and whimpers like a scared puppy. Understood, sir. With the drama settled, the teacher turns to look at Fang Zhou with a knowing glance, mentioning he saw his impressive meditation score. He orders him to go all out in the combat test, too. Our boy nods quickly in agreement, saluting like a good student. Yes, sir. As the buff teacher walks away, Fang Zhou rubs his chin, smugly thinking the teacher clearly wants to favor a genius like him. Giving them no time to slack off, teacher Luke roars for everyone to gather up. The class immediately scurries over like a swarm of bees. Yes, sir. The teacher orders some kids to bring out the equipment, and a boy wearing a cap runs off to get it done. Soon, a bizarre-looking robot gets rolled out, leaving everyone totally confused. Teacher Luke proudly pats its metallic shoulder with a sneaky grin. He introduces it as a premium apprentice-tier testing puppet. It is ultra-durable, built specifically to measure their physical power and defense. Pointing to the LED screen on its chest, he explains the scoring system, using the weakest demon from the abyss as a baseline. This machine can tank claws right to the chest, giving it a baseline defense rating of 100. Looking at the rusty puppet, one student taps its metal skull, sounding pretty doubtful as he asks if they might accidentally break this piece of junk. Hearing this, Fang Zhou raises an eyebrow, suddenly curious about the idea of smashing it. The teacher just laughs at the naive question. He punches the machine on the head, boldly declaring that in the school history, no freshman has ever managed to scratch it. But today, if any of you can rip this robot's head off using nothing but your raw physical strength, he will go big. He promises on his honor as an instructor to reward them with 20 contribution points on the spot. You already know how it is once they smell the cash. The students lose their minds, cheering like they just struck absolute gold. 20 alliance points is insane, so nobody is holding back now. Under the sweet light of capitalism, our boy's eyes turn to dollar signs. In this brutal, practical world, points are literally cold, hard cash. How else is he going to buy cool gear or high-tier skill books? The whole class gets super greedy, waving their hands and shouting like crazy to go first. But the teacher quickly screams at everyone to line up properly. First up is a fire mage trying way too hard to look cool. He starts channeling massive fireballs in both hands like he is prepping a backyard barbecue. But life comes at you fast. Teacher Lu casually reads off a tragic 48 attack power, leaving the poor mage pale as a ghost and totally shook. Bruh. He was so sure of himself, too. He literally bit his own lip raw and felt like he was about to shatter the earth. So why is the screen showing this tiny number? Next up, a swordsman charges in, swinging for the fences, screaming some cringe anime move for a critical hit, only to get a miserable 41. Embarrassing as hell. The third guy refuses to take the L, channeling his inner god archer to fire a blinding shot. His petrifying arrow hits a clean 50, bringing pure despair to the whole rookie class. While these randoms are busy sweating bullets and stressing out, Teacher Lu crosses his arms and announces that all the basic classes are officially done. Now it is time for the rare classes to step up in order. Down below, the basic class players are practically crying in each other's arms, whining about how none of their trash tier classes can even reach 60. No wonder Teacher Lu was flexing so hard. Those 20 contribution points are basically bait. But hey, let us see if the golden children with hidden classes can do any better. Meanwhile, Fang Zhou stands there stroking his chin, dark energy swirling as he turns around. His current attack power relies completely on his skeleton squad. He is wondering if the test dummy even allows damage to stack up. But of course, that annoying green-clothed clown walks by to talk some absolute trash. Seriously? This guy again? He mocks Fang Zhou, telling him to look at his own worried face, claiming he already knows his attack power is going to be dead last. Fang Zhou just lazily rolls his eyes. The green guy struts forward, howling with excitement. He tells Fang Zhou that he is about to open his eyes and show him the massive gap between them. After learning some skills, he swings a glowing red dagger, unleashing a giant wind-slashing strike right at the test dummy. The scoreboard flashes with his results. An 80 pops up. He smirks arrogantly, bragging about how broken his hidden phantom assassin class is. But before he can flex any longer, another guy behind him shuts him down. The dude sneers, telling him to stop acting like he is the only one who got a hidden class. Cutting the drama short, Teacher Lu grabs his list. He calls out in a booming voice for Diep Pham to step up. The quiet, edgy kid answers immediately, and the crowd instantly starts whispering. They whisper about how he awakened the sick demon hunter class. Apparently, the school big shots had their eyes on him from day one and even set up a special research team. So jealous, they wonder how insane his attack power actually is. Diep Pham steps up to the platform, flips his hair like a main character, and gets ready. A massive glowing green energy scythe materializes right behind his back. With sharp, focused eyes, he prepares for a devastating blow, launching himself high into the air. Looking like an absolute god, Diep Pham slams the giant blade right onto the robot's head, screaming out his vengeful strike skill. But on the screen, a tiny 65 appears on the display, making the bystanders scratch their heads in confusion. They murmur about how that is barely higher than their own scores. Like, only 65? Diep Pham's glowing green eyes flare with intense fury. He is not done yet. Turns out, this guy's skill is a multi-hit combo, and the numbers start going crazy. The counter jumps to 69, shocking everyone. His storm of slashes keeps landing, pushing the score to 88, and finally hitting a clean 100. The wind dies down. Diep Pham strikes a cool pose with his scythe next to the dummy, while Teacher Lu nods and announces his score of 100. Watching from afar, Fang Zhou smirks with a calculated plan. So the points actually stack. In that case, ripping this battered test dummy apart is going to be light work. And honestly, you just know he is about to cook up something wild. Meanwhile, the shadow attribute student, Diep Pham, walks down basked in whispers of awe. With his hands in his pockets, the arrogant Diep Pham looks up at the sky, thinking that nobody in this class is even close to his level. Hating that someone else stole the spotlight, the green-clothed guy sneers. He grumbles that it was basically cheating with a combo and that he should have spammed attacks too. But a gray-haired girl shuts him down immediately, reminding him that he is an assassin. Like, where are you gonna get a multi-hit combo skill from, bro? Ignoring the kids bickering, Teacher Lu calls out Bak Tu Thien. The curvy girl eagerly steps forward, puffing out her cheeks to build up some focus. She hypes herself up, thinking that since she has a hidden class, even if she is bad at fighting, she absolutely cannot embarrass herself here. With a graceful kick of her long legs, she unleashes a fierce storm of green leaves right at the target. But reality is pretty brutal. Teacher Lu calmly announces her score is only 31. Bak Tu Thien literally freezes in shock, complaining that support classes are way too weak for combat. The green guy laughs his head off, mocking her. He says she talked a big game but only had weak skills, boasting he could easily hit over 80. He brags that if he landed a few more hits, he would easily score over 80. Meanwhile, the bearded teacher ignores him and casually calls up Kochi Thursday. The storm mage steps up, unleashing a barrage of crackling green lightning and wind bullets with both hands. In the end, Kochi Thu scores a decent 72. Next, a tanky Earth Knight slams his shield straight into the robot with a massive crash, using his shield bash skill to secure a solid score of 69 for True Yu Yen. But wait, there is more. A buff warrior wielding a massive hammer swings it down with insane force, smashing the dummy. That heavy strike secures Tran Dung a strong score of 84. The watching students begin to murmur, amazed at how high these guys' attack power is. Even though they are way stronger than us, none of them can break past 100. Honestly, even 100 barely scratches that dummy. Teacher Lu's reward points are looking pretty safe right now. But hold on. Some remind them that there is still one hidden class user left who has not stepped up yet. They all turn to look at the guy standing there like a dark statue. Right, the Necromancer Fang Zhou is up next. Hearing this, the green-clothed guy laughs. He mocks them for putting their hopes in a Necromancer, saying that kid probably cannot even hit 10 attack power. The other students laugh along with him. They agree, joking that those weak skeletons of his might not even be able to stand up. Ignoring the chatter, Fang Zhou speaks up calmly from behind. He asks if the green guy is really 100% sure that he cannot take those 20 contribution points. This makes the green guy puff his chest. He laughs, asking if a loser like him could actually do it. Pointing at the dummy, he boldly challenges Fang Zhou to a bet. If he can do it, if he fails, I will literally eat this machine right here. Fang Zhou smirks, strolling forward with a grin. Well, you said it yourself, bro. Those words came straight out of your own mouth, leaving a dazed Lu Renjia standing there. Stepping into the center of the yard, our main character casually spreads his arms and politely warns everyone to please take a few steps back. Pointy Mouth over there still tries to talk trash, asking if he is scared they will laugh at his garbage stats. But Fang Zhou just keeps his cool, slowly closing his eyes. No, he says. Suddenly, a massive wave of green energy erupts, and phantom chains of hell surge from the ground, completely wrapping around him as he speaks. In a chilling voice, he says the skill he is about to cast just needs a little extra breathing room. Suddenly, from the dark fog of death, shadows begin to emerge. Hideous skeletons with glowing blue eyes slowly step out to stand behind their dark lord. The crowd of watching students literally drops their jaws, screaming in absolute terror at the sight. What on earth is that? They yell. 10 skeletons. Is he trying to jump the whole school? Didn't the rumors say a newly awakened apprentice necromancer can only summon 2? Has this guy already powered up to black iron level? Teacher Lu Hu wipes away cold sweat, his mind racing as he suddenly remembers a legendary tale. Even the legendary necromancer Su Xinyan, who was widely hailed as the greatest genius in history, could only summon 5 skeletons when she first awakened. Watching him stand there so proudly, wrapped in a rising dark mist, the muscular teacher silently gulps. Is this kid's talent actually crazier than the legendary Su Xinyan? Meanwhile, our main character rubs his chin, thinking it is a good thing he held back a little, or else he would have attracted way too much attention. No more wasting time, the Dark Lord of Death nods his chin, giving his bone minions the order to go ahead and tear that thing apart. The entire skeleton army instantly charges like wild beasts. Pointy-mouthed Lu Renjia starts shaking, muttering that the speed of these bone monsters is just way too fast. In a flash, the summoned monsters swarm the test robot, throwing a wild barrage of heavy punches and kicks. The electronic screen on the puppet's chest instantly spikes, hitting 30, 45, 60, and finally 65. The onlookers in the crowd start pointing and whispering, acting like they really know everything about combat. Well, that total attack power isn't actually that high, someone says. But another nods, saying 65 is already great since many warrior classes can't even reach that score. Another sneers, saying he summoned a whole army just to scrape up those points, calling necromancers absolute trash. Seeing this, Lu Renjia takes his chance to laugh. Is that all? He mocks. 65 points means your trash skeletons didn't even average 10 points of damage. Ignoring the loud barking, Fang Zhou just narrows his eyes. Don't smile too early, he says coldly. The real fun is just getting started. Lu Renjia frowns, asking what he means, and if he is just trying to save face. Suddenly, the dark mist around him erupts even harder. He smirks wickedly, saying if 10 aren't enough to beat it, then how about he summons 20 of them? The entire class is completely shocked, their jaws dropping to the floor. What the hell? They gasp. Has this guy actually been holding back his real power this whole time? Someone rubs their eyes, muttering that there are at least 20 skeletons there, wondering if any necromancer has ever broken the rules like this. Meanwhile, the class president claps. I knew our Fang Zhou would pull off something big, she cheers. Then, one of the larger skeleton leaders unleashes a powerful punch directly at the machine's display. The score instantly jumps to 97, triggering loud alarms. Then, a massive flurry of critical hits lands, sending the combat numbers completely off the charts. The total score bursts past 100 straight to 108 as sparks fly everywhere. With a loud blast, the supposedly indestructible test machine is sent flying. It flies through the air like a piece of trash right in front of everyone. The entire crowd of students just stares in complete silence at the flying machine. Just look at that thing soar through the sky. Once the shock finally wears off, the entire schoolyard absolutely erupts as they realize he literally just broke the machine. One guy scratches his head, asking if this is actually real since he just awakened. Another yells out that the kid is a complete monster and definitely not human. Lu Renjia's legs go completely weak as he stares at the fallen screen in pure despair. Did he really just break the machine's maximum limit like that? A bright red 999 flashes on the screen, blinding him. How is this even possible? He thinks, his face completely twisting in shock. He is sweating buckets with his jaw hanging wide open, unable to accept this harsh reality. Meanwhile, our main character calmly strolls over to the pile of scrap metal. He picks up the broken head of the ruined puppet, shoving it right against Lu Renjia's chest with a gentle smile that is loaded with terrifying killer intent. Dinner is served, he says, so go ahead and swallow it down. The guy stutters and backs away. Seeing him so scared he might wet himself, our hero just sighs. Fine, you don't have to eat it, he says. But suddenly, his eyes flare with a terrifying dark pressure as he orders him to get out of his sight forever. The loser scrambles away in fear, but still tries to save some face by yelling out the classic villain line that he will get him next time. With that settled, the class president eagerly approaches him with sparkling eyes, saying he is just too overpowered and begging him to share his training secrets with her. But he just scratches his head and laughs it off, saying he only does normal meditation every day, treating it like a completely basic routine. Their bearded teacher Lu Hu steps over and claps, telling him he did an amazing job and really opened his eyes today. Still, our hero stays totally humble. You flatter me, he says. Suddenly, the teacher pats him hard on the shoulder, promising he will secure him a spot on the school's elite training list. The scene quickly shifts over to the headmaster's luxurious office, where a white-haired old man sits quietly listening to the latest school report. Sir, out of 10,000 new freshmen, exactly 9,103 awakened successfully, while 897 unfortunate students failed. This brings the success rate to about 91%. The secretary's monotone voice continues reading the stats, listing the students who managed to land rare classes. There are 85 in total, featuring famous top names like Earth Knight Zhao Yuan, the legendary soprano Bai Xiaochan, and the powerful storm mage Gu Jichu, and demon hunter Ye Fan. The white-haired headmaster strokes his beard and nods, agreeing that out of 100 elite spots, these 85 can be added directly. But when his eyes slide down to our main character's file, he frowns, muttering about the unlucky class written right there on Fang Zhou's paper. He sighs coldly. The Necromancer class has absolutely zero future, so we should honestly just cross it off the list. Right then, a sudden knock on the door cuts off his train of thought. The stern principal calls out, "Come in." Seeing the muscular teacher Luke rush inside looking completely panicked, the old man asks in surprise, "Teacher Luke, aren't you supposed to be teaching the practical combat class right now? How do you have the free time to run here?" Panting heavily, the bearded man gasps out, "Principal, I have an urgent report." Lu Hu says absolutely nothing, rushing forward to rummage through the files on the desk before snatching one paper and yelling, "Found it." The principal frowns, totally confused by this chaotic entrance. "What on earth are you up to?" The combat instructor slams a folder showing Fang Zhou's face right in front of his boss, proudly declaring Necromancer Fang Zhou is someone I strongly recommend for the school's elite seed list. The principal just folds his arms and shakes his head. Look. The Necromancer class indeed has huge potential, but history proves it is almost impossible to turn into actual power. Luke immediately argues back, bringing up a pretty solid counterexample, but Major Tum Nyan is a Necromancer too, and her combat power easily matches any other class. Getting shut down like that, the old man rubs his temples, sighing. Su Xinyan only made it because her legendary dad poured massive resources into her training. But this guy, Fang Zhou, what kind of backing does he even have to pull that off? The principal stands up and walks to the window, his voice dropping to a serious warning. Instructor, I know you and Fang Zhou's parents were close comrades who fought together, risking your lives. They are indeed Federation heroes. But then, the old man's face turns completely stern. This seed list is a pretty huge deal, you know. It does not just come with a massive pile of free cultivation resources. It also means carrying a heavy burden of responsibility on your shoulders. But without flinching, now check this out. Here is where Luke pushes the report right in front of his boss, confidently answering that is exactly why I chose him. Here is the report from his meditation and combat classes. This gets the principal raising an eyebrow in curiosity. Oh? But the moment he glances at the paper, the old man practically jumps. Reads aloud. His very first meditation class, and he immediately unlocked the bone meditation method. Plus, he summoned over 20 skeletons in real combat. Seizing the perfect moment, Luke proudly adds, with this kid's monster talent, he might literally rewrite the entire history of necromancers. The principal has to compromise, all right. Say no more. We will wait until the simulated battlefield opens, check his performance, and go from there. Holding the file, a pretty sharp look of interest flashes in his eyes. Fang Zhou, huh? I am actually pretty excited to see what this kid can really do. Just then, the scene cuts back to the bright, sunny schoolyard. Our cute class president is busy jogging after him, asking curiously, hey, how did you get so insanely overpowered? Her big eyes blink with pure admiration. First combat class, and you already summon a whole army of skeletons? That is crazy. But our grinding main character just shrugs, acting totally chill about it. It is just a few more summons than average, no big deal. Hearing him act so clueless, she points a finger straight at his face to call him out. Too much humility is literally the peak of arrogance, you know. Mr. Big Shot. He just laughs out loud, claiming it is honestly a super minor thing. Wiping a tear from his eye, the secret Lord of Death smirks inwardly like I would ever tell you the truth. That tiny show of strength back there is barely a drop in the bucket compared to my real, insane power. But while he is busy bragging in his head, an arrogant voice shouts from behind, Hey Fang Zhou, stop right there. This makes him halt. Standing dramatically in the wind, a kid named Ye Fan poses like an anime character. I, Ye Fan, have never feared anyone in my life. Looking at this entire Class 1, you are the only one worthy of being my ultimate rival. Faced with this absolute peak delusion, our main character and the class president just stare at each other, totally speechless. Without even wasting a single second on him, Fang Zhou waves his hand and turns away. Sorry, dude. I have absolutely zero time to deal with people suffering from major chunibyo. Too weird. This leaves the Deerp kid frantically chasing after him. Wait up. The young demon hunter blocks his path, pointing a finger directly at him to make a point. I do not want some cheap fight. I want you to be my official sparring partner. Our hero raises an eyebrow. Pretty surprised sparring partner, you say? Yi Fan looks dead serious, explaining that after awakening the rare demon hunter class, he got specially recruited into a pretty exclusive research team for data collection. They urgently need a partner with matching strength to gather combat data. The offer sounds quite fancy, but our business-minded hero just shrugs his shoulders. Wait, you and I both know he's not doing this for free, right? Why on earth should I waste my precious time helping you with some school project? How about 10 contribution points to hire you for 2 weeks? Plus, I will cover your food and housing entirely. The moment he hears the sweet smell of cash, Fang Zhou pulls a total 180, snatching his hand in a flash with a bright grin deal. Pleasure doing business with you, my friend. The Derp kid chuckles proudly as expected of my fated rival. This leaves the poor class president standing behind them with her jaw literally dropping to the floor. What? Did you seriously just sell yourself out for cash? Terrified his new partner might change his mind, Ye Fan quickly dashes off, shouting, "Let's go right now." The class president scrambles after him, face-palming in utter disbelief. Did you really just sell your soul to that total Chunibyo guy? But our main character just grins with his hands in his pockets, feeling quite pleased with his big catch. 10 contribution points is a pretty massive deal. Why would I turn it down? Besides, looking at the points, he knows his family back home is going to need every single bit of this. With that thought, he turns to his classmate. By the way, is that Yi Fan guy some kind of super rich kid? He is throwing around points like it is absolutely nothing. She just rolls her eyes. Rich kid? Yeah, right. Those points are just a pretty big advance he got from the research club. Watching their target walk away with his head in the clouds, she folds her arms and sighs since it is just an advance. Ye Fan will definitely have to work himself to the bone to pay it back later. But looking at how easily that idiot throws cash around, she just shakes her head. At this rate, I bet he will be paying off debts for 20 years. After graduation, this makes our hero break into a cold sweat, muttering, "Well, that explains it." While they are busy gossiping, they realize they have arrived. Standing in front of a sleek modern building, he waves them over, shouting that they have finally arrived so they should get inside. Leading the group, the smug guide boasts that this is their lab. It is the main research facility for their special project and looks absolutely sick. Scanning the room, Fang Zhou is genuinely blown away by all the high-tech equipment surrounding them. This facility is incredibly fancy. Rare class perks are definitely worth the hype. Suddenly, a guy with a mechanical arm steps out to greet them. He welcomes them, introducing himself as Trun Than Sun, a silver-grade Wind Ranger demon hunter in charge of research. Both of our students politely bow their heads in respect. They greet Professor Tren respectfully. But he just nods coldly. Even though the guy is logistics staff, our main character immediately senses a pretty weird vibe. He can feel a faint bloodlust radiating from him. Despite being a pure scientist now, the professor still carries the heavy aura of a seasoned frontline veteran. Showing them around the room, Professor Tren starts sharing some massive news. Apparently, down in the Abyss dungeon, humanity just gained a brand new legendary demon hunter. A legendary senior named Vung Mirn totally smashed an Abyss Lord, showcasing some seriously mind-blowing power during the fight that shook the entire world. Patting Ye Fan on the shoulder with high expectations, the professor explains that after Ye Fan awakened the Demon Hunter class, their academy took it super seriously. They even set up an entire dedicated research team just to help him unlock his absolute maximum potential. Suddenly, the professor turns around to face our main character. He gives Fang Zhou a mysterious smile, saying he already reviewed his student file. Sensing the kid has some crazy potential, the professor pushes up his glasses to tempt him. He offers to set up a custom research team for him, but our boy instantly waves him off. No thanks. He is totally fine. Glancing at Ye Fan with pity, our highly practical necromancer thinks to himself that he really does not want to carry massive debt for 20 whole years after graduating. The professor does not push, simply clapping his hands and suggesting they jump straight into combat testing. Stepping onto the sparring stage, he reassures both of them. He tells them they have installed incredibly strict safety measures, so they can go all out in this fight without worrying about losing their lives. Pointing toward a nearby weapons rack, he adds that to maximize their combat potential, each player is totally free to choose 3 pieces of gear from the armory. Looking at Ye Fan holding that glowing bow blade, our main character quickly evaluates his rival. Not a pushover. The guy is definitely strong. His insane speed and burst damage are a direct counter to our main character's skeleton summon skill. Realizing this, Fang Zhou decides it is time to make a move. And check this out, he decides it is finally time to activate his cheat system and use the skill deduction feature to boost his combat power. A glowing green status window pops up with choices to upgrade his skeleton summon, level 2 bone javelin, and level 1 bone shield. Meanwhile, on the other side, Yi Fan tosses his jacket onto a rack, speaking in a highly arrogant tone, saying he almost forgot. Grabbing his specialty weapon, the demon hunter starts trash-talking. He brags about mastering the bow blade specialty skill, claiming that even if our Necromancer summons 20 skeleton minions, they will not stand a single chance against him. Throwing a camo cloak over his shoulder, Fang Zhou just lets out a faint smirk. Is that so? He thinks, checking his stats. Viewing his newly buffed Necromancer stats, he feels pretty confident that once these upgrades settle, his opponent is in for a very rude awakening. Flicking his finger, the Lord of Death wears a smug smile, hoping the guy will not let him down. Right now, his stat page pops up. It displays his basic setup, consisting of a gray-tier apprentice staff and shield. Even though they are mass-produced gear, they still slightly boost his magic stats. The items also help reduce damage. Taking a stance, Ye Fan spins his glowing giant bow blade gracefully, praising his fated rival for having some serious guts. But the demon hunter's eyes suddenly turn incredibly cold and dangerous. Without warning, Ye Fan leaps high into the air, launching a fatal strike downward. He screams that the massive funding from his research team is beyond his opponent's imagination. Then, he strikes. The whole stage shakes. Inside the observation booth, two assistants are gossiping about who will win. One confidently bets on Ye Fan, claiming his instincts are on another level. He mentions that after hanging out with him all week, he knows the guy's battle instinct is the scariest thing around. Suddenly, a deep voice cuts them off. The voice mocks them for making such hasty assumptions, asking if scientists are always this impatient. This completely startles Professor Trun, who quickly spins around. He asks what brought old Luke here. Crossing his massive arms, Teacher Luke calmly replies that since his star students are sparring, he obviously had to watch. When the professor asks if he genuinely believes that the Necromancer can pull off a victory against their top demon hunter, the teacher is absolutely sure. He confirms it. Absolutely. Hearing this, Professor Tren just sighs, flipping through his research files while shaking his head in disbelief. He argues that while the kid can summon plenty of skeletons, it does not change the painful reality that he is still just a physically fragile mage. On top of that, he drops a bombshell, whispering that just yesterday, Ye Fan unlocked an incredibly broken teleportation skill that will blow everyone away. Oh, you're not ready for this. Back in the arena, Ye Fan blurs forward like a straight-up ghost, his glowing blade barely grazing our boy's face. Thanks to his insane reaction time, our main character barely dodges the deadly strike, quickly analyzing his opponent. This guy's close combat is way too dangerous. He needs distance. Fast. Seeing our hero constantly retreat, Ye Fan laughs mockingly, shouting that simply running away will not keep him safe. He raises his massive bow blade, charging up to release a devastating rain of blue energy arrows that completely blanket the sky, leaving absolutely no escape. Facing this relentless storm, our hero's eyes flash with a cold green glow. He quickly chants a spell, conjuring a massive bone shield to block the danger. Raising his apprentice staff high, a brilliant magic circle erupts beneath his feet, summoning his very first wave of skeleton warriors to the battlefield. As soon as they spawn, the skeletons fold their hands to unleash their signature skill, firing sharp beams of blue energy directly at the enemy. Dodging the relentless barrage of light, Ye Fan starts calculating his next move. He realizes he has to close the distance and end this fast. His skeleton summoning rhythm was totally locked in, but then, bam! A lightning arrow slams right into the magic circle under Fang Zhou's feet, making him freak out. Shoot! The summoning circle is forced to a dead stop. He ducks low, barely dodging a rain of energy arrows buzzing right over his head as our main character exhales. Relieved. Whew! That was way too close. Right away, Fang Zhou slaps his hands onto the dirt, activating another hidden magic circle. A massive wall of majestic skeleton soldiers with burning green eyes rattle up from the ground, fully shielding their master from the next wave of attacks. Behind the glass, Professor Tran is totally blown away, muttering about how the new generation is absolutely built different. He pushes his glasses up, nodding along in approval. With Fang Zhou's crazy performance today, even if he loses to Diep Pham, I'm putting him on the seed list. Hearing this, the bearded teacher Luke laughs out loud and shuts him down. Old Tran, don't celebrate too early. Stroking his chin with pure confidence, the combat teacher drops a bold claim. Fang Zhou is way too calm and smart. No way in hell this kid isn't hiding some secret trump cards. Meanwhile, watching his skeleton squad get absolutely shredded like paper. Fang Zhou narrows his eyes. Time to stop playing nice. He raises his flaming skull staff high into the air. He yells out, "Unleash full power." Seeing the numbers absolutely skyrocket on the monitor, the female assistant drops her jaw and screams out 330 skeletons. The male colleague next to her literally freezes for 5 seconds. How did this kid level up his skills this fast? Even surrounded by a massive wall of white bones, Diep Pham gets insanely hyped, roaring out, "Nice. This is the power a true rival should have." Pulling his camo hood down to cover his face, Fang Zhou watches him closely. Surrounded by hundreds of skeletons and still this calm? Dude is hiding something. Just as expected, the guy instantly turns into a wild green whirlwind, swinging his blades to shred every skull in sight with a flurry of brutal strikes. No matter how tanky these skeleton warriors are, they cannot handle this sheer heat. They instantly shatter into piles of dust all over the floor. Diep Pham's eyes lock in with a fierce green glow. He dashes forward like a rocket, muttering to himself, "This distance is perfect to end this." In a literal blink, he is right up in the mage's face, explosive energy swirling around him like it is about to swallow the squishy wizard whole. He pops his ultimate move, Shadow Chase, turning into a blur of pure darkness that rips through the air. The speed of his dash is insane. It leaves a long, glowing green trail behind, crushing the entire arena with raw pressure. Professor Tran sighs, claiming it is game over for our mage. Once an assassin gets this close, no mage can survive that kind of damage. But Teacher Luke just keeps watching quietly, not saying a single word. With a clean, sharp spin, Diep Pham swings his blades, sending his signature riven strike straight at Fang Zhou's chest. This looks like the end. But look at Fang Zhou, this absolute genius of playing weak, just smirks. Seriously. Watch closely, because here is where his trap snaps shut. A massive bone shield rises out of nowhere, blocking the lightning strike with a loud metallic clang. This insane recoil sends Diep Pham flying backward. He gasps, his eyes wide with horror, shouting, "What the hell is this? What kind of skill blocks like that?" Watching from the monitors, Professor Tran jumps right out of his seat. This is a completely brand new Necromancer class skill. The assistant next to him is totally losing it. Did he seriously invent a brand new skill all on his own? That is wild. Fang Zhou slowly steps back, casually throwing some shade. "You are actually a bit tougher than I thought, so I had to use a brain play." He casually drops his skull staff onto the cold tiles. Watching the main character throw away his weapon, Professor Tran breaks into a cold sweat, his face turning pale as he stammers, "What is he doing?" Teacher Luke sweats too, clicking his tongue. Man, this kid plays incredibly dirty. Just then, Professor Tran's eyes shoot wide open as he finally gets it. He actually used optical camo to blend directly into his own skeleton army. Hidden in the massive crowd of rattling bones, Diep Pham spins around. He grinds his teeth in pure frustration, looking everywhere. Damn it. He cannot find which one of these skeletons is the real Fang Zhou. Swiping his blades wildly at the surrounding skull minions, he screams in pure frustration, "Fang Zhou, show yourself right now if you have the guts." But with his stamina running dangerously low, his eyes flare with a fierce green fire. He grits his teeth, realizing he has to end this now. If this keeps dragging out, he will get slowly chipped to death. Time to unleash the big guns. A massive burst of dark energy explodes. It blasts straight up, blowing the skeletons away. You can bet Professor Tran's eyes are practically popping out of his head seeing this insane skill. No way. How does he already know an overpowered skill like that at his current level? The assistant nods, explaining that even though the cooldown is long, It deals crazy burst damage and lets him escape combat instantly. Levitating high in the air, Diep Pham's burning eyes suddenly lock onto a target. He smirks, shouting out, "Found you. That's the one." He raises his dual blades, ready to drop a devastating fatal strike right on his head. The demon hunter roars with pure excitement, shouting, "Fuang Chu, take this final attack." He pours every ounce of his remaining energy into his eyes. A massive green fireball, packed with absolute destructive force, shoots straight down toward the helpless skeletons below. This looks like the end. A single skeleton wearing a camo cloak breaks into a cold sweat as he realizes death is literally calling his name from the sky above. The lightning strike slams down, creating a massive green explosion as he yells his skill name, Sky Slash. As the heavy dust slowly clears, Diep Pham is panting hard, staring down at his completely flattened target. The red-haired fighter stands proudly over the body, leaning on his blade. "You are tough, but I have my own pride and I absolutely cannot lose." Trying to look like a merciful winner, he turns to the staff. "Get the medical team in here," he says. "I do not want any bodies on my record." But inside the observation room, Professor Tran's jaw hits the floor. Yifan looks around, totally stunned. Sensing something is seriously off, he starts sweating bullets and mumbles to himself. Their faces look weird. That is definitely not how you look at a winner. He whips his head around to look at the ground, completely speechless. Underneath the cloak, Fang Zhou suddenly turns into smoke and vanishes into thin air, leaving him totally mind-blown. And then, the bitter truth hits him. That was not the real deal. His brain goes into overdrive trying to untangle this absolute mess of a situation. Seriously. Look at this. The kid did not just disguise himself. He made a skeleton disguise itself as him disguising himself as a skeleton. Talk about next-level mind games. Before he can even process this insane brain rot, he screams in panic as a bunch of bony hands grab his legs from behind. Oh no, the real Fang Zhou is finally stepping out. He walks right up behind him with a super friendly smile. "Hey, thanks for letting me win, Ye Fan." Knowing he got played, Ye Fan hangs his head in defeat. "I give up." Right on cue, the system confirms it. Victory goes to Fang Zhou. The red-haired guy grinds his teeth and shuts his eyes, totally helpless. Damn it. That last skill wiped me out. It used up too much mana, and I have got nothing left. Spent and broken. He collapses forward. But one of his opponent's skeletons actually reaches out to catch him. Talk about a polite defeat. He looks at our main character and mutters a weak thank you. Fang Zhou immediately flashes a thumbs up, trying to sound nice. But it is pure disrespect. No sweat, just think of it as my little pity gift to the loser. While getting dragged away on a stretcher, Ye Fan yells back in absolute rage. "You absolute jerk! This loss is just fuel to make me stronger. Just you wait, the underdog will rise." Hearing that, Fang Zhou quickly tries to play it cool. "Hey, I was just kidding around. No need to get so worked up, right?" Once the match officially wraps up, Professor Tren walks over with some praise. "I hate to admit it, but your battle skills are insane. They honestly blew past all my expectations." Our boy calmly replies, "Thanks, Professor Tren." But then the four-eyed teacher slaps his shoulder and drops a real bomb. With dirty-ass tactics like that, you are definitely going to be a tactical mastermind. Left completely speechless, Fang Zhou can only think, wait, is he actually roasting me right now? No more jokes. Professor Lu gets dead serious and cuts to the chase. "Hey, Fang Zhou, that bone shield spell you pulled off earlier, where did it come from? Is it a new skill you unlocked yourself?" Our main character keeps it real and nods. "Yeah. Professor Lu. No secrets here." He casually summons his weapons. He manifests a sharp bone spear and shield to show them off. "I had a bit of a breakthrough while grinding my skeleton summon, so I unlocked 2 new skills." The kid proudly adds, "I call them Bone Spear and Bone Shield." Seeing these 2 high-tier abilities manifest right before their eyes, both teachers are absolutely stunned and speechless. They just look at each other. Suddenly, Professor Lu enthusiastically slaps him on the back. Awesome job, kid. You really know how to keep us on our toes. Fang Zhou stumbles, begging him, please, go easy on the spine, Professor. Professor Trun turns to his colleague and makes a suggestion. Hey, Thon-sun, since you have got the gear here, why do we not run a quick test on these new skills of his? Professor Liu is totally down with it. No problem at all. I will get it set up right now. Hearing about another test, Fang Zhou instantly slumps over and whines. Professor, my mental energy is completely flat. I do not think I can cast a single spell right now. The big guy just chucks his arm around him to comfort him. Oh, do not sweat the small stuff, kid. We have got you covered. No need to worry at all. A massive crate of potions gets dragged out, leaving our boy totally confused. Wait up. Did you just bring a whole case of beer out here, Professor? He cheerfully yells, damn straight. Just chug it straight from the bottle. Meanwhile, the label on the crate says it all. It is literally bulk-sized mental recovery juice. Getting resupplied like a factory worker, Fang Zhou chugs the whole thing down. Blue energy flares up around his body as he murmurs, this is wild. Chugging recovery potions like tap water is crazy. Man, that hits the spot. Stepping into the test zone, Professor Train points at a training dummy and shouts, get ready. We are kicking off the trial right now. The dummy is fired up. Fang Zhou gives a quick nod. Got it. The test bot gears up with a creepy smirk. It raises its fists while the proctor's voice booms out. Just pretend it is real combat, kid. Hit it with everything you have got. Our boy coolly answers, will do. No hesitation here. He swipes his hand, summoning his lethal weapon, and channels his bone spear. Putting his back into it, he hurls the deadly projectile forward. It pierces right through, setting off a massive explosion. Check out that scoreboard, dude. 85 attack power right off the bat. Even Professor Tren is totally losing his mind. The professor beams with joy, taking notes as he heaps on the praise. That is some serious firepower. For a freshly awakened student, this output is absolutely insane, especially since he invented it himself. With the offensive test wrapped, the bearded Professor Liu strokes his chin and orders. Get ready. Defense test is up next. We need to see what your shields can do. Our main character just shrugs. Easy. On cue, the training bot charges forward like a maniac, aiming a heavy punch. Right at his face. Fast as lightning, he deploys his bone shield, blocking the massive impact with a solid wall of bone. The screen displays the rating instantly. Defense score, 80. Seeing these crazy stats, the bearded Professor Liu grins ear to ear, hyping him up. Your offense rivals a storm mage, and your defense matches a stone knight. Getting way too excited over his star pupil, he unleashes another round of heavy backslaps that nearly knock the wind straight out of our main character. You were absolutely born to be a necromancer, kid. Making a sour face, he wheezes out a plea. Professor, seriously, could you stop hitting me? People are going to think taking hits is my actual superpower here. Professor Trun steps in to rescue the poor kid, pushing up his glasses with a proposal. These skills are top tier. I highly recommend registering them in the skill library. Rubbing his sore back, Fang Zhou repeats the words with a curious look. The skill library? His mind starts wandering, digging up memories about this legendary place. The skill library is basically a massive federal database where anyone can trade merit points for elite skills. But Professor Tren's voice snaps him back to reality as the man gives a solid thumbs up. We actually have our own local branch right here inside this research center. You can access it whenever you want. Our main character smiles, immediately jumping on the opportunity. Well, in that case, I will be in your care, Professor. Standing before a massive wooden door, Professor Liu gives him some final advice. Once you upload your skills, you can use your merit points to cop whatever you need. He steps forward with pure confidence. Understood. Thanks, Professor Liu. Time to see what kind of insane cheats are hiding in this database. He reaches out with his black-gloved hand, slowly pushing open the heavy wooden door to step into the world of knowledge. But instead, absolute darkness welcomes him. The eerie silence leaves him utterly confused. Isn't this supposed to be the skill library? He grumbles, "Why is it so pitch black?" Right then, the lights suddenly flicker on, revealing a majestic, ancient hall of knowledge right before his eyes. Staring at the towering bookshelves shimmering with gold, our main character is totally blown away, muttering that this is exactly what you expect from the Federation's library. Walking down the massive corridors, he gently touches the magical spines and whispers, with pure excitement, every single skill he knows is right here. Skipping the sightseeing, he walks straight to the central altar, placing his hand on the energy orb glowing bright purple to start. Instantly, a bunch of system screens pop up with insane news, confirming he successfully registered those new skills, Bone Spear and Bone Shield. He gets 200 contribution points, plus, as the creator, 50% of all future download fees will go straight into his own pocket. He is completely shocked by this massive win. Talk about making bank on royalties, he thinks. Pocketing this insane fortune, our guy immediately starts looking for more. He gets pretty greedy, hunting for rare spellbooks. Getting into this library is a rare chance, so he cannot just grab a few things and leave. Wandering around, his sharp eyes lock onto a book glowing with a deep green aura. Reaching out, he grabs it. Skeleton Meditation Method. Holding the glowing scroll in his hands, he smirks with a pretty devious plan. Perfect, he mutters. I will use these basic skills to translate and unlock a whole bunch of upgraded skill variations. Just then, the system screen displays his soul power balance for translating skills, sitting at 100 points. Standing in the middle of the massive library, Fang Zhou receives a sudden notification. The skeleton meditation method can be upgraded by consuming some of his soul power. Without wasting a single second to think about it, he taps the screen to confirm. Instantly, a bright green aura wraps around his entire body, making him gasp in absolute shock at the sheer, overwhelming power. What a terrifying death energy, he gasps. Right then, inside his soul space, a creepy skeleton illusion suddenly snaps open its glowing, blood-red eyes. Rising before him is the massive shadow of a majestic skeleton king sitting on a throne. You guys see that? The system announces that his skeleton meditation is successfully upgraded. The Bone King slowly hands over a mysterious magic book, making Fang Zhou mutter in curiosity. Staring at the floating book, our main character points to himself and asks if it is for him. Without waiting for a yes, the book flies open, releasing thousands of glowing magic runes that swirl around the room, before diving straight into his body. After absorbing all this ancient knowledge, the massive shadow of the Skeleton King looms behind him as his new skill is revealed. Skeleton King Meditation Method. Clenching his fist, he smiles, realizing that spending his soul power on this upgrade was definitely worth every single point, as he reads the screen. It is an upgraded version that boosts his meditation speed by a whopping 100% compared to the original, while also empowering his skills. It does not just speed up his leveling, it actually makes his necromancy skills way more powerful. That soul power was definitely not spent in vain. Still, he taps his chin, quickly realizing a pretty harsh reality. No matter how overpowered a skill is, he still needs enough mana and mental energy to actually cast it. During his intense fight with Ye Fan, his mental reserves were almost completely drained. Walking through the library, our main character sighs in relief and decides to go find a solid energy buff. Luckily, he still has quite a lot of contribution points left to trade for a mental recovery skill. Stopping in front of a shelf, he points dramatically at his target. I choose the Focus Mind skill, he says, as the purchase screen instantly pops up. The system shows that Fang Zhou has spent 20 contribution points. The trade is successful. Smiling, he opens the book to check out his awesome new skill. It gives him a passive buff that boosts his mental recovery speed. Plus, if he activates it, his mind energy is instantly restored by a decent amount. Looking at the warning about its high learning difficulty, he just smirks and hits confirm anyway. The only downside to this skill is how hard it is to master, but for him, that is absolutely not an issue. The system asks if he wants to spend 10 soul power to speed up his learning. He laughs, thinking that money really can buy you anything in this world. Instantly, glowing magical light swirls around him as the system updates his progress. He successfully masters the skill. Are you seeing this? He clenches his fist as power flows through him, laughing proudly because his recovery speed just skyrocketed. This is incredible. His mental recovery is visibly much faster now. With these new skills, Fang Zhou gets so cocky that he confidently claims he is unstoppable. If he had to fight Ye Fan again, he could easily bury him under an entire army of skeletons. But our newly rich guy is not done yet. He grabs a pile of books for reference, including Vines, Muddy Swamp, and Earthwall. I might as well grab these now to upgrade later, he decides. The system confirms that Fang Zhou has spent 60 contribution points. With all his new skills secured, he suddenly realizes a pretty basic rule of gaming. No matter how overpowered your magic is, running around naked is just a bad idea. Skills alone are not going to cut it. He definitely needs real gear. As a low-tier F-rank apprentice, he can only wear basic gray and white tier items. Usually, being broke sucks. But thankfully, this guy actually has cash. He swipes his card to go on a massive shopping spree. The screen shows that Fang Zhou spent 40 contribution points, and his items are successfully claimed. Putting on his cheap gear, Fang Zhou adjusts his hat like a totally budget mage. Yet, he still looks pretty cool as a bunch of notifications pop up. His mass-produced apprentice hat slightly increases his maximum mental capacity. Next is his low-tier apprentice necklace, which is also a standard mass-produced item that slightly boosts his mental recovery speed. Finally, he equips 2 mass-produced apprentice rings, which are low-tier items designed to slightly reduce his skill cooldown times. It might look pretty cheap, but equipping all 4 pieces together actually unlocks a solid set bonus that glows brightly on his system screen right away. The 4-piece set effect gives him a 10% boost to both cultivation speed and skill mastery growth. Looking at the soft glow surrounding him, he nods happily. This will definitely help him level up even faster. Standing in the library, our guy takes a quick look at his awesome upgraded stats. Staring at his newly snagged loot, Fang Zhou mumbles some high praise, muttering that this trip was a massive win. The Federation skill library is honestly pretty insane. Name, Fang Zhou. Class is Novice Necromancer, low tier. His stats are Strength 1.5, Agility 1.3, Constitution 1.3, and Spirit 2.5. Soul State, wearing beginner gear. His skills include Mastered Skeleton Meditation, Upgradable Skeleton Summon, Bone Spear Mastery, and Bone Shield Mastery. He is pretty stacked for a rookie. His basic Calm Mind skill is unlocked. Boom! Suddenly, his super cool skeleton clone pops up, grabbing our guy's attention. Fang Zhou breaks into a cold sweat, realizing he almost totally forgot about his buddy. He thinks I almost left him hanging. His skeleton clone needs some upgrades too. Ready to fully spoil his sidekick, he grabs 3 super important skill books and tosses them over, ignoring the balance deduction alert. Weapon Mastery, Blocking, and Roar. Those 3 are absolute must-haves for his skeletal partner. In total, Fang Zhou burns 30 contribution points, successfully registering every single one. Holding the last book, our broke main character sweats looking at his empty wallet. Time to hunt for a sweet gig. This skill library is great, but it drains currency. It is definitely not friendly to his budget. He wonders if he can find another cozy job like being a sparring partner. Just as he walks past the Demon Hunter Research Group sign, Professor Tren bumps into him and curiously asks if he managed to grab any cool new skills. Fang Zhou smirks, proudly bragging that he secured a massive haul this time. But right during his smug moment, a furious yell from behind cuts his thoughts short. No way I am accepting that loss. The battle-hungry Ye Fan stands on the platform and chucks a healing potion straight at our guy. Drink up, he challenges. I only lost earlier because I did not get your strategy. This time, I am going to crush you at maximum speed. Fang Zhou catches the bottle effortlessly and throws back a teasing smirk. Are you sure you want to challenge me right now? I literally just upgraded my skills. Ignoring the warning, the red-haired guy grinds his teeth, his eyes burning with intense fire. He declares that he will never lose to anyone again. I will use every ounce of my power to smash you. Hearing this perfect deal roll right in, Teacher Luke quickly counts his fingers to charge them. This counts as an extra sparring session, so you will have to pay me more contribution points. Professor Tren immediately passes the buck to the debtor. Sure, as long as he agrees. After all, he is the one who has to pay back those points anyway. Without even drinking it, Fang Zhou tosses the potion back. Bring it on. Keep the juice, pal. You are definitely the one who is going to be needing it in just a minute. This makes Ye Fan absolutely lose his mind. Furious and seeing red, the red-haired hothead explodes with a wild green flame and charges forward. Screaming out Fang Zhou's name, the sky goes dark. A blinding streak of green light tears through the air, bringing down his ultimate move. Falling Heaven Strike. Watching from the sidelines, Professor Tren and Teacher Luke sweat as they analyze the wild match. He really just opened up with his ultimate move right off the bat. Ye Fan has some pretty sharp combat instincts. Ending this fast is his only actual shot at winning. The heavy, tense air fills the room. Teacher Luke watches closely, wondering how our boy responds. Man, let us see if those new skills actually live up to the hype. Unbothered, our main character slowly points one finger to the sky. Instantly, a massive green magic circle glows under his feet, covered in ancient runes. Seeing the familiar setup, the pretty assistant asks if he is still just using skeleton summon. But with his expert eyes, Teacher Luke freaks out. Sweat dripping, he yells out for him to wait. The glowing circle shines brighter, revealing endless skeletal shadows that leave him completely terrified. Look at that insane number. Dozens of white bone warriors rise from the ground, forming a towering pillar that pierces the sky as onlookers watch in horror. Totally unnatural. Ye Fan's ultimate strike slams hard into the solid wall of skeletons, triggering a massive explosion of bright green light. Rock fragments and shattered bones fly everywhere as dust clouds fill the arena. Professor Tren and Teacher Luke stand dazed, trying to process this crazy clash. Is his strike even stronger than before? That hot-headed Ye Fan kid actually managed to evolve and upgrade his skills right during their last battle. Incredible stuff. Right then, Fang Zhou steps out of the smoke, entirely unharmed. Not bad, he says. That attack had way more bite than your last one. He casually slips his hands into his pockets with a knowing smirk. Too bad for you, though. Because my skills have also grown way stronger. Just a tiny bit. Before our guy even finishes talking, the hothead breaks a sweat as 7 skeletons completely surround him. They all point their sharp spears straight at him. Instead of some epic, heroic showdown, Ye Fan gets absolutely jumped by a pile of angry bones. Our loser can only cover his face, screaming not to hit his moneymaker. The beatdown ends with Ye Fan flat on the floor. Professor Trun just facepalms. Declaring today's practice officially over, he sighs. Trust me. Looking at that wreck, Teacher Luke agrees he won't be training for at least a week. Once they carry the poor guy away on a stretcher, Professor Trun turns to our main character and seriously asks if he wants a Necromancer research group. Fang Zhou immediately shuts it down, saying no thanks. Thinking about his massive secrets, the young man sweats, knowing he cannot afford to get exposed. If they study him and find his system, things will get incredibly messy. Meanwhile, in another corner of the library, a gorgeous girl walks up to the pedestal. She notices something highly unusual. Placing her hand on the magic orb, her eyes widen in shock as she spots some fresh Necromancer skills in the database. Without waiting, she swipes her card to buy them immediately, triggering the system notification right on her screen. She is definitely not wasting any time. Su Xinyan spent 20 contribution points, skill purchase successful. Flipping through the pages of the secret manual, she cannot hide her utter amazement. Bone Spear, Bone Shield. She is blown away by how these bone spells are being utilized. Whoever created these must be an absolute tactical genius. Feeling like she just hit the jackpot, the excited girl tightly hugs the book and runs off to find her friends to share the news. What a show-off. I totally need to go brag to my dad about this. Meanwhile, in the principal's office, Professor Tran is literally slamming the desk and begging. Please, principal, I have to resubmit the application to put Fang Zhou on the seed list. Bearded teacher Lu nods right along. Exactly. I will literally stake my entire reputation on this kid. The white-haired principal just casually sips his tea. He frowns and complains, Old Tran, why are you hyping up this nonsense? Even if that Necromancer kid is doing well now, there is no way he can keep up or get enough high-tier skills in the future. But Professor Tran is not about to back down, firing back with some crazy news. He tells his old buddy that Fang Zhou might have already unlocked 2 Necromancer skills completely on his own. The old principal literally chokes on his tea from the shock. Hurriedly wiping his mouth to save face, the headmaster acts all tough again. Unlocking new skills is whatever. He says what actually matters is how useful they really are. Teacher Lu jumps in to report that the skill intensity is insane. But right then, the door slams open and Tan Nan bursts in, completely interrupting their little chat. She is totally hyped up, yelling, Dad, 2 brand new Necromancer skills just popped up in the library. Hearing his favorite daughter say that, the old headmaster is completely lost. Necromancer skills? He asks, totally confused. To prove her point, she throws 2 glowing green skill projections right into the middle of the room to show them off. I only did a quick test, she says, but even without mastering them, the effects are absolutely mind-blowing. Seeing the crazy power on display with his own eyes, the principal breaks into a cold sweat. He is totally speechless. Meanwhile, his daughter asks Dad, do you have any idea who actually created these godly skills? Before her dad can even finish his sentence, Tan Nan has literal stars in her eyes. She is totally fangirling, declaring she wants to become this genius creator's student. The principal just stares at the ceiling, letting out a massive, helpless sigh. He instantly shuts her down, Tan Nan. I am pretty sure that is never going to happen. This makes her pout big time. Why the heck not? She asks. Well, back in the classroom, the principal's voiceover explains the brutal truth of the situation. The guy is literally still just a student here. But wait, check this out. Fang Zhou is having a nice nap in class when this loud, annoying voice wakes him up. It is his self-proclaimed rival, yelling, my arch-nemesis, face me in battle. Fang Zhou sleepily raises his head, resting his chin on his hand with a huge sigh. Again? He looks at this clingy red-haired pest. Seriously, how many times are you going to challenge me? Go do some training or something. But Deep Fam just smirks. Hands in his pockets, he confidently brags to his female friend, hey, this time is going to be different. Bak Tu Tien is just standing there, totally startled. This guy puts his arm around her, pointing at our main character. With her help, my power has literally skyrocketed. There is no way I am losing to you this time. Hearing this, Bak Tu Tien turns bright red, frantically yelling, you literally got down on your knees and begged me in public. I only agreed so you would stop crying. Ignoring their little comedy show, Fang Zhou blinks. His curiosity actually piqued. Wait, did she really help you boost your power? The girl proudly crosses her arms. Yep, she boasts, puffing out her chest. A few days ago, I woke up and realized I unlocked this crazy useful support skill called Lullaby. She happily explains that it massively boosts your mental energy recovery speed while also supercharging the overall results of any meditation or hard training you do. Seeing his teammates steal all the glory, Diep Pham slams the desk. He interrupts her, looking pretty annoyed but still fully determined to show off. This skill can only be used 3 times a day, he says. I literally paid her 2 contribution points a week for this. Fang Zhou just looks at his broke debtor, sighing. Is this idiot seriously going to spend his entire life grind farming just to pay me back? Meanwhile, the red-haired guy keeps slamming the desk, shouting, hurry up, let's go. I can totally beat you this time. But honestly, forget about him. Fang Zhou is completely locked onto that new lullaby skill. Wait, if it boosts meditation, would it actually work on my skeleton clone too? No hesitation. He leans right forward and grabs Bak Tu Tien by the shoulders with some crazy, terrifying energy. Tu Tien, can you please sell me your last lullaby cast for today? His sudden face-to-face intensity makes her blush like crazy as she shyly nods. I guess I can. she mumbles. Meanwhile, Diep Pham is completely losing his mind because he is being totally ignored. Hey, stop shutting me out like this. Literally ignoring the loser, Fang Zhou casually summons a bunch of skeletons, completely surrounding Diep Pham with a wall of bone. Boss Fang just casually gives them orders. Go play with my skeletons first. Oh, and make sure you transfer those contribution points when you are done. The red-haired guy is absolutely fuming. You jerk, how dare you look down on me like this? With the noisy distraction dealt with, Fang Zhou turns back to his girl with maximum puppy dog eyes. Please cast Lullaby on me right now. She shyly agrees. She closes her eyes, chanting, and suddenly glowing musical notes start swirling around our boy. Meanwhile, far away in a dark, creepy dimension known as the Undead Land, Fang Zhou's absolute beast of a skeleton clone is sitting cross-legged in deep meditation. The glowing sound waves from the real world actually cross space, wrapping right around the Skeleton King. Fang Zhou checks his system panel, totally smirking in victory. The system status shows Lullaby is fully active. Yes. The buff actually works on my clone. The Skeleton King stands up, looking cooler and more badass than ever. He glares at a bunch of monsters nearby, muttering to himself, "You guys are going to be my test subjects. Let's see what this clone can really do now." His insane stat screen pops up. High-tier apprentice skeleton clone. Strength is 8, Constitution is 7, Agility is 7, Spirit is 6. Weapon? A gray bone spear. His low-tier skills include bone armor, feral instinct, charge, and weapon mastery. His defensive block is already completely mastered, and so is his classic war cry. Soul power is at 50. Suddenly, a bunch of ugly monsters roar and charge, swinging spiked clubs right at our boy. In a literal blink of an eye, the skeleton clone draws his weapon. His bone spear deflects a massive, crushing blow with insane skill. His defensive block triggers immediately, showing up on his screen. The system shows he has mastered apprentice-level blocking, cutting down incoming damage. The actual success rate depends entirely on his physical stats and overall skill mastery. Capitalizing on his flawless defense, the glowing blue flames inside his skull burn even brighter. It is time to go on the offensive with some weapon mastery. Our Skeleton King swings his spear, dealing a devastating critical strike that literally buries the massive monster straight into the fiery, burning red ground below. But wait. The clone immediately spins around, locking onto another trash mob rushing in. This giant beast roars, swinging its massive axe down and split our skeleton boy in half. But the clone easily dodges, slides behind, and drives a sharp spear right through the ugly monster skull. Just a clean backward stab. Standing tall and proud on the bloody battlefield. He nods, totally vibing with the new buffs. And get this. The system rewards even got a 10% boost. This Lullaby is seriously a god-tier skill. Just watch how the stats jump: strength plus 0.11, soul strength plus 0.55. But two fat butchers are charging forward with crazy speed, targeting the Skeleton King. Our clone pulls off some unreal dodges, then swings his spear to unleash an absolutely devastating lightning slash. The spear rips right through their defense, and boom, a rain of rewards starts spamming the screen. Strength plus 0.11, soul power plus 0.55, strength plus 0.11, soul power plus 0.55. Looking toward the distant hills, our Skeleton King leans on his spear, watching countless dark shadows swarm in. Bro, there is a whole damn undead army waiting for him. Fine then, burning all his death energy, the clone spreads his arms to deliver the ultimate disrespect and shouts, "Get over here, you trash." An insane wave of energy explodes outward, creating a blinding white aura that literally shakes the entire dead land. An epic area of effect skill sends the weak mobs flying in absolute terror. Meanwhile, a system alert pops up: his novice roar skill has hit mastery level. This roar temporarily buffs his physical power and speed. The duration and overall stats depend entirely on his raw strength and mastery levels. Unleashing his full hype, Our skeleton clone turns into a literal lawnmower, diving headfirst into the enemy army and shredding them. Strength plus 0.11, soul power plus 0.55. The longer he fights, the crazier he gets, his blue soul fire burning like a torch. The Skeleton King roars, "I can get even stronger than this." The mobs drop in massive piles, trigger happy notifications flooding the screen. Strength plus 0.11. Soul power plus 0.55. Strength plus 0.11. Soul power plus 0.55. Right in the middle of this bloody massacre, the clone freezes, raising his blazing eyes to look at the sky. The deep red sky starts cracking. Believe it or not, the sky literally tears open, showing an anomaly that makes our Skeleton King drop his jaw. What is this? From that space rift, a giant bone sword glowing with a blinding blue light crashes straight down. Then, the outline of a terrifying angel with dark wings appears, crushing the atmosphere and making our clone sweat buckets in sheer panic. This bone angel is literally a world boss. How is a world boss spawning in the starter zone? Insane.